You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots so you know the actions you can take, how your family or business can benefit from current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. But before we get into our intriguing content today, please join me in welcoming our featured guest and repeat offender. Blake Vartanian is in the house. Welcome.
Thank you, Ron.
Glad to have you with us. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you. And you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are no operators standing by. I am it.
Quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you. Even if you don't have any needs today, save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And yes, of course, we celebrate every day on Ron Siegel Radio. It is a great nation to be in. We are on the correct side of the sidewalk. What more could you ask for? So let's find out, what are we celebrating today? It's kind of an interesting one. National I Love Horses Day.
It is what it is.
Okay. National Pet Fire Safety Day. I look at that one and I said, okay, my dog is 15 years old. She barely gets up to eat anymore. And if you know anything about black labs, they will go and eat at any time. So she barely gets up to even go eat. I don't know how I'm going to teach her pet fire safety. I don't get that one, but I digress. Tapioca Pudding Day. Even having beaten anorexia, I'm not sure I'm going with that one either. We'll have to stick with Gummy Worm Day. And then something that is near and dear to my heart, Blake, I think you'll agree with me on this one. National Give Something Away Day.
Oh, love that part.
Right? Today is National Give Something Away Day. And making something nice. I've shared this many times. And in this day and age and this craziness of our society now, one of my favorites of giving away is when I see, and I know I'm gonna love this one when I see some of your comments, law enforcement officers or military folks. Whenever I go into a restaurant, I see them there. It's just, I just feel compelled to pick up the tab. Just me, and you know something, because those folks are out there doing yeoman's duty. I appreciate them. Anything I can do to say thank you. We are big, big fans of law enforcement on Ron Siegel Radio. And as I've said many, many times, if it's not something you like, I don't care. Right? I mean, law enforcement, firefighters, military, it's because of those people that you get to say what you want to say. I get to say what I want to say. And one of the things I say all the time is thank you. We appreciate you. I appreciate you. Can you imagine doing a conservative talk radio show in a very, very liberal state and being able to just do it? I think about that concept. Can you imagine me trying to do my broadcast in Venezuela instead of Calizuela? Yeah,
I got a bad feeling about this.
Yeah, that would be a bad feeling. That might not be something that would be too safe. But here in America, yes, we get to say what we want, and we are protected. Nice. Let's take a look at the markets today. The Dow Jones Industrial Average is now up about 106 points. It was up over 500 points earlier in the day. The numbers overnight were even higher. The S&P 500 up 8.27. NASDAQ, amazing. The NASDAQ is actually showing a red number right now. It very rarely shows a red number, but it is showing down 46.96. I am in total surprise that oil is up 47 cents a barrel. Why would you be surprised about that one, Ron? Well, the answer is we had a big buildup in oil. They were figuring that oil would be a draw. What the heck does all that mean? Because I know that you are a simple person like me. So when you've got a buildup in oil, that means that more oil is coming into the country than was anticipated. We were thinking that we were going to be using more oil than we were receiving. We thought we would draw down about 2 million barrels. We gained about 7 million barrels. That means there is more supply, which would usually lead us to believe that prices would, or the price of oil would drop. But it didn't do that. So we're going to look and see why that's happening. Obviously, I'll tell you, if you really want to know about it, what are gas prices doing? National average of a gallon of gasoline, $2.19.9. $2.19.9. If you want cheap gas, you go to Mississippi. They're at $1.84.5. And if you want to get the highest priced gasoline in the continental United States, you know it. We don't even need a drum roll. Calizuela leads the way at $3.13.1. $3.13.1.
Ow!
Painful. The only state in the union that's higher is Hawaii. They don't even produce any gas. $3.23.3. Simply unbelievable watching what's going on in the markets of gas and oil. What else is going on in the markets today? Let's take a look at what else we see in our review this morning. Did you listen to the commentary yesterday? I don't know if you saw this one, but there was a lot of commentary yesterday about President Trump's comments from the Rose Garden. Yeah, he called it a speech on China, but yeah, it wasn't a whole lot of China talk in there. It was 42 minutes of discussing the differences between the president's policies and his competitors' policies. We did not get the China discussion, although every once in a while the president does pipe into our broadcast. I know, we're just a little broadcast.
China!
Yeah, China. He talks about China all the time. But that Rose Garden broadcast, he was talking about the differences between a Joe Biden administration and this is very fascinating to me, because if you remember 3 or 4 years ago when we were going through the election, we had an idea of what President Trump had in mind, but there was nothing to say we would know what he would do, just because he was an unknown candidate. We had a good idea of what Hillary Clinton would do because she had been the Secretary of State. She had been a senator from New York. Joe Biden has been in Washington for longer than I am alive, almost. Right? So we know what Joe Biden will do. He's been doing it the same things for 40 years, 50 years. Right? So it's not a question mark of what Joe Biden will do. Now, when we hear he said all his ideas of what he's going to do, well, the only question I would have is, why didn't you do it? Right? I mean, if you wanted to have green energy, okay, why didn't you do it? You wanted to protect our environment. Well, why didn't you do it? You wanted to make us energy independent. Why didn't you do it? Right? All of these things, we wanted to create jobs. Why didn't you do it? You wanted to have opportunity zones like President Trump has done. Well, why didn't you do it? Want to be tough on China. Yeah, we understand.
China.
You wanted to be tough on China. Well, why did you send your son there to take all kinds of bribe money, in my opinion? Right? So we know that the difference is, it is fascinating watching. Speaking of fascinating watching, guess what? We found out what happens in Alabama when you are on the wrong side of the president. Jeff Sessions, he was the senator from Alabama for many, many years, decided to take on a position in the Trump administration as the attorney general. One day later, without notifying his boss in the interviews that he was going to recuse himself of the biggest case probably in U.S. history. Right? So the president says, you know something, I'm going to support your opponent in this new Senate race. Well, Tommy Tuberville basically won the race 2-1 over what Jeff Sessions got as his in that case. Another one of the president's favorites, Ronnie Jackson, won his congressional seat race in the primary again in Texas. And I hear all these people say, it's fascinating. I love listening to liberals. This is great. On the news, obviously on the news. right? So pundits, I guess, is the best term. They say that Texas is a state in play now for the presidential election, but they're not running any advertising for Democrats there. And then I saw one of the opposing pundits say, I'll bet you $1,000. Obviously, the money was going to charity. I'll bet you $1,000 that Texas stays in Republican hands. Amazing, the pundit did not talk. First time the liberal pundit didn't say a word. Fascinated me. So he said the Republican pundit comes back and says, how about I'll do $2,000 to your favorite charity against $1,000 to my favorite charity? We were able to keep the pundit quiet once again. Do you think Texas is in play? I doubt it. There's still a lot of people out there that are the silent majority. And if you want to know about the silent majority, take a look at the GoFundMe page for Goya Foods. Young man decides to start after the mob decided they wanted to cut out the Goya Foods people and try and boycott them. The young man sets up a GoFundMe page. I love this. This is American ingenuity. Sets up a GoFundMe page. He's raised, as of yesterday, $164,000 to go and purchase Goya Foods. And what are you going to do with $164,000 worth of Goya Foods? The young man's giving it to food banks. You gotta love it, right? I mean, that's a way of saying, you know something, let's vote here, folks. We got a boycott on one side. We've got a organization on the other side. Love it. And it's being done peacefully, right? Let's see who wins in this peaceful debate. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the finance. Alex, you're back with us. I'm glad to see you here, buddy. Listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, building home equity, what are you going to do with it? Just let it sit there and do nothing for you? Mortgage rates hit record lows for 3 consecutive weeks. And we might even get to the conversation, maybe not, about that $600 unemployment check ending. All that and more. You can reach me anytime. Our off-air number, 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990 or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. On Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. But the replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the number 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Did you know that banks and credit bureaus are rewarded financially if you have bad credit? And the worse your credit score is, the more money they can make off of you? How does that make you feel, knowing that banks are getting rich off of your hard-earned money? How does it make you feel, knowing that if a bank or a credit bureau makes a mistake on your credit report, they benefit from it and it hurts you? The Fair Credit Report Act of 1971 requires banks and credit bureaus to report only accurate information, and nearly 100% of all credit reports are inaccurate. If you're sick and tired of being broke and tired of being robbed by the banks, you owe it to yourself and to your family to call Rondi. Rondi is a FICO-certified credit professional and has helped thousands of people just like you get out of debt and establish great credit. Rondi's number is 855-608-1990. Again, that's 855-608-1990. Or visit creditsanitizer.com. Again, that website is creditsanitizer.com.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Are you a veteran, police officer, firefighter, doctor, nurse, or teacher? If so, you qualify as one of Ron Siegel's VIP heroes, and we have rewards up to $5,000 or $10,000 when you buy, sell, or refinance a home with one of the Ron Siegel radio partners. As one of the heroes, real estate agents will rebate part of their commission, lending partners will give a credit at closing, the title company has special published rates, and many other service providers have incentives too. All you need to do is call Ron Siegel Radio at 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit VIPHeroProgram.com. Just think about what you will do with all the rebates and incentives from the partners of Ron Siegel Radio. Just call us at 800-306-1990 so we can show you our appreciation for your service.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990. 800-306-1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage. When you're ready for that next mortgage, Gold Star has the programs and the products. Check it out, mysocallender.com, mysocallender.com. There is two L's there, mysocallender.com. Let's check out what's going on in the mortgage world today, as we do every day at this time. We're looking at the Dow Jones Industrial Average. That one right there is up 149 points as I speak to you, as I record this morning. S&P 500 up 16.5. The NASDAQ recovering a little bit, down 16.12. U.S. 10-year Treasury, it's a whopping 0.623 is that yield on that, the interest rate. Mortgage bonds, those are up 6 basis points, which means rates are down a little bit again today after a very good-sized drop in rates yesterday. And it's all because of a vaccine high. Yeah, we saw overnight or late yesterday, there was a great report came out from Moderna that said their coronavirus vaccine trial produced a robust immune response in all 45 patients in its early stage human trials. I guess that must be a common number because we saw that Pfizer used that same number, 45 patients, in their trial as well. All of them had benefits. They did use it was mostly younger people. I say that as I am over the age of 50, so it was all people under 50 years old. They're going into a phase 3 test now. It's going to begin July 27th. 30,000 people. Half of the participants will be a control group who will get placebos. The other half will get the real thing. We'll see what happens. Hoping for the best. That's why the markets took off this morning. We also saw great news come out of Goldman Sachs. They had a blowout quarter with earnings per share of $6.26 a share, much higher than their $3.78 expected revenue, $3.5 billion. Good news there. Mortgage bonds, again, I told you they're going up this morning with rates down. The president signed legislation to impose sanctions on China in response to its interference with Hong Kong's autonomy. So we're watching that one as well. I know, and we hear some of our friends say that the president is soft on all these countries. What other president since Reagan? I can't think of one since Reagan that would have been this tough on some of our adversaries. You know, I don't think either one of the Bush presidencies would have. I don't believe President Clinton would have. And, you know, we know what President Obama did. So fascinating there. Here's another interesting one. And this goes to talk about all the junk mail we get. 4 million people did not get their stimulus payments because they came in the form of prepaid debit cards and they threw them away. Can't make this stuff up. So they threw them away. They came from Money Network Cardholder Services. If you think you're one of that 4 million group, 1-800-240-8100. 1-800-240-8100. Call them and see about getting a replacement card. Hopefully somebody didn't find your debit card and use it. That's the Mortgage Minute brought to you by our friends at Gold Star Mortgage, mysocallender.com. Check them out. Love chatting. We spend about 30 seconds prepping for radio shows in some instances when we've got some wonderful folks that come in. Blake Vartanian is with us, Realty Pro 100. He's been in real estate as long as I've been alive. Well, maybe not as long as I've been alive, Blake, but it's been a day or two.
It's been a day or two.
Right? So Blake's going to... We just love getting in and chatting about real estate and the market, what's happening in the market. Because I don't know if we talked about this last time you were in, Blake, or not, but even with the experience you have, and I think you told me, 40 years?
Yes.
Even with your experience level, you probably don't remember the Spanish flu, right? That was 1918,
Yes.
so.
Just a week or two before my time, yeah.
Right, so none of us have experienced what's going on right now. And what changes are you seeing that really draw us to the need for an experienced professional to guide us through the real estate world now?
Well, there are people out there who like to take advantage of a pandemic or a crisis, and the most important thing is to slow the process down and make sure you're talking to a professional that you feel comfortable with. So my suggestion would be, is there probably people who would say to you, Ron, I'd like to wait. And my thought would be, no matter what your thought process is, it's important to stay relevant and to talk to professionals like yourself. Is that something that you think would be a reasonable thing for someone, even if they're not thinking about doing something, to at least get a barometer of what's going on now for themselves, so rather than sitting in doubt and questioning where they are?
One of my prophecies, I evangelize this on the program every day. I mean, we do this program daily. Do I need to do a radio program every day? No, we're pretty busy, right? Our focus when we're doing the radio program is to get out there and educate people.
Yes.
Right? I'm not doing an infomercial. I'm not going out there telling you what mortgage rates are and what guidelines are and having 75 people a show call up and say how great I am. I don't want that. That's not our focus. Our focus is educating, right? And the more you can talk to somebody who's got the heart of a teacher, right, the more you're going to be educated. Now, is real estate right for everybody? Probably not.
No.
Right? But education is. We're missing that in our society, I think.
I think, what happens is people, especially in a pandemic, it's easy to freeze and to say, I'm not going to act, and not gather the information to know what's the right decision. Because if you were going to move anytime in the next 12 months, I would say start the process of education now. And if you want to buy an investment, start that process now, because it takes time and you never know where opportunity will meet with what you're looking for. So somebody who says, I'm going to sell, I need to sell by next week. Real estate agents and lenders oftentimes know that information and can connect people, because we're more than just salespeople. We're advisors, we're friends, we're parents, we're grandparents, we're in
the community.
We're in the community.
Right.
And we care about the community and making sure that we do responsible things for the community.
Now, I know you spend a lot of time dealing in the investment world, not in the commercial so much, and maybe you do, but I watch from a distance some of the things you're doing in the investment world. And, I talk about on the broadcast every day, the stock market, being up as we're speaking 140 points. We were up over 27,000 on the Dow earlier in the day. A little volatile for some people.
It's very volatile, and some people don't have the stomach or the knowledge for the stock market and the volatility. So what we look at is, as part of a good portfolio, you want to have diversification. And that diversification can come in the form of owning investment property. And so the big question that we look at is, if someone has the amount of equity that's available in their property to utilize, you can possibly purchase from that equity an investment property and put that equity to work, because not only is the cost of borrowing so low, the return on investment, because the rents are in such high demand, rental properties, and there's a shortage of rental properties available in the marketplace. So as we transition over time, society tends to keep getting larger and larger. but California isn't able to keep up with the amount of housing that's needed for the population growth.
That's a fascinating comment, because I know we're listening to some of the commentary from Chapman University 2-3 weeks ago when they did their economic forecast update. And obviously, even Chapman did not forecast a pandemic. I mean, they do a great job over there. They did not forecast a pandemic. But they do talk about the idea of how many higher net worth individuals are leaving the state of California, yet our population does not drop, which means there's more working class people coming into the state, and they need someplace to live.
Well, and so many people start off at a certain level of income, and over their lifespan, that their wealth and their income changes. So, and then a lot of that wealth growth is tied to their real estate investment. So I bought my first house when I was 19. If I couldn't go back and buy at that same price, I'd buy 100 of them
Sure.
if I could.
Exactly.
You know? And so when you look at, the cost over time, it's tied to the devaluation of money, the cost of living increasing, the demand. If you look at a house purchased in 1965 as an example, it's up maybe 30, 35 times what it would have cost in Orange County at that time. But a candy bar might be up 10 times, or the price of gas that cost 65 cents in 1972 or 1973, it may be $3.50, but that's only 5 times greater or 6 times greater, but the cost of housing is 30 times greater.
You know something? When we come back, Blake, I want to talk to you about a concept here. And I haven't done the numbers. We're going to do it live on radio for you when we come back. Buy a house, or what if you knew about Apple stock 25 years ago? Which is a better investment? We're going to talk about that. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, mortgage rates hit record lows for 3 consecutive weeks. Unemployment. I did see that Media Matters hopes that they're going to get the unemployment pushed out till the end of the year. I don't think it's going to happen, but we'll talk about that as well. You can reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. Connect with us, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube, Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Siegel Lending Team offers you buying power. Let's say you can afford a monthly mortgage payment, including principal and interest, of around $1,900. With today's rate on a 30-year fixed mortgage of 3.75%, APR 3.85%, that payment could support a $416,000 mortgage. But if you wait and rates tick up to around 6.5%, which is roughly the average home mortgage rate over the past 30 years, that same $1,900 mortgage payment, including principal and interest, may only be able to support a $314,000 mortgage. That's over $100,000 worth of home you're missing out on by waiting. That's buying power. All you need to do to get started is reach out to the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Payment example excludes taxes and insurance. Call us for full details, 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 or SiegelLendingTeam.com. Equal housing lender, licensed under NMLS number 217037.
Are you purchasing or own a luxury home? If you're like so many others, your home is your largest asset and the mortgage is your largest debt. The Siegel Lending Team has some amazing financing opportunities right now. Jumbo loans up to $2 million, 30-year rates below 4%, 15-year rates near 3.5%, and if you can believe it, 7-year interest-only hybrids in low 3s. The Siegel Lending Team has all the options for your jumbo or second home loan requirements. Take advantage of them while you can. To learn more about all the other financing products available from the Siegel Lending Team, call 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Again, call 1-800-306-1990. Rates subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender.
Homeowners that are 62 and older are about to find out a great way to live a better retirement. It's called a reverse mortgage, and SLT can help you learn more. Call the Siegel Lending Team at 800-306-1990 right now to receive your free booklet with no obligation. It answers questions like how a reverse mortgage works, how much you qualify for, the ways to receive your money, and more. When you call the experts at Siegel Lending Team today, you'll learn the benefits of a government-insured reverse mortgage, how it will eliminate your monthly mortgage payments, and give you tax-free cash from the equity in your home. Here's the best part. You still own your home. Now is the best time to take control of your retirement. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990 to get your free brochure. Call today or visit our website at SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com, or simply call 800-306-1990.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest. SLT Home Digest to 79564. That digest is great tool, not just because we're giving it to you for free. You're actually going to get more than you paid for it. But it's going to tell you everything that the county recorder knows about your property. It will tell you everything that the market believes about your property. And you're going to get a copy of it every month in your email right from your friends at Ron Siegel Radio. Question today, though, comment today, mortgage rates hit record lows for 3 consecutive weeks. Over the past several weeks, Freddie Mac has reported the average 30-year fixed rate dropping to record lows, all the way down. Last week's number comes out Thursday every week, 3.03%. Last week's reported rate reached the lowest point in the history of the survey, which dates back to 1971. I'm showing you a chart of it right now. If you don't believe me, it is right there for you to see. Going all the way back to 1971. Now, if you're looking at that peak on our chart right there that shows basically right there in the early 80s, you know, when you talk about buying low and selling high, or buying high and selling low, right around that 18.63, that's where somebody like me got involved in the real estate market. So when someone says that, Ron, rates might be at 4%, and that's pretty high, or rate might be 3.5%, and that's pretty high, I'm thinking about the early 80s when I bought my first house. Yes, I am old. But when I bought my first house back then, rates, that's when you can say that rates were high. They're not high right now. The Carter administration, Reagan administration. So take a look at that chart. What does that mean for buyers, though? It's huge for home buyers. Those currently taking advantage of the increasing affordability that comes with historically low interest rates are winning big. According to Sam Cotter, chief economist Freddie Mac, quote, "The summer is heating up as record low mortgage rates continue to spur homebuyer demand. In addition, Move.com notes, quote, summer home buying season is off to a roaring start as buyers flooded into the market. Realtor.com monthly traffic hit an all-time high of 86 million unique users in June 2020, breaking May's record of 85 million unique users. Realtor.com daily traffic also hit its highest level ever of 7 million unique users on June 25th, signaling that despite the global pandemic, buyers are ready to make a purchase, unquote. Clearly, buyers are capitalizing on today's low rates. And I'm going to share a chart with you in a minute about what happens to a payment from the 70s to today on a $300,000 loan. Can you imagine? In 1980, when they averaged 12.7% interest, the average mortgage payment, principal and interest, $3,248. That same $300,000 loan today, $1,270. Lower monthly payment means that can add up significantly over the life of the loan. It also means that qualified buyers may be able to purchase more home for their money. Maybe it's a bigger home than what they'd be able to afford at a higher rate, an increasing desirable option, considering the amount of time families are now spending at home given today's health crisis. If you're contemplating something new, give me a call. Let's set a game plan for you. I share all the time. Other than in the case of fraud, and obviously I am not a fan there, but other than the case of fraud, I don't turn people down for loans because I'm a big, big believer that everybody can buy a house. It's just a matter of the guidance. You may not be able to do it today. You might have to get on a game plan to buy your new home, but everybody can buy a house if you set your mind to it and if you're willing to do what it takes following the guidance of great professionals. That is the Real-Time Real Estate segment. Again, brought to you by the area trusted real estate professionals of Ron Siegel Radio. Text SLT Home Digest to 79564. Find that dream home before someone else does. So before the break, chatting with Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100 here in the office with us. And we did this during the break as well. Blake and I did a little conversation about Apple stock. And we hear all the time, I mean, Apple will probably be the first $2 trillion company. First thing is, we all know that we can't buy anything at the year 2000 prices, right? Apple stock was probably in the 20s, 30s, 40s, something like that in that year. A house, we can set a number, Blake, right? For a house, we can say a house for $300,000 house. You could have bought one then. We can buy one today.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot of inventory out. Maybe not in Newport Beach, but if you want to go, I just saw some properties in Anaheim Hills that are $499. So we can find $300,000 houses in the sound of our voice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
$300,000. So if we bought a $300,000 house in 2000 or today, either one, what could we do as a down payment? What are our down payment options?
So let's look at in the year 2000, that $300,000 house with a 3.5% down on a FHA loan would be around $10,000.
Yep.
So you have maybe a little more than 10,000, but right in that range.
All round numbers. We're simple people.
So yeah, exactly. So when somebody says I paid $300,000, well, did you, or did you pay $10,000 and you're borrowing the rest?
Right.
So the difference between buying the stock and buying the real estate is the leverage. So today, that same house at $300,000, I'm going to jump ahead, would be $900,000 to $1 million today. So if you put $10,000 out of pocket and your asset is now worth $1 million, what is your actual return?
Right.
It's not from 300,000 to.
It's not a 3x return. It's
10,000 against $1 million, which
right.
is 100 times.
Right. So, and neither one of us are. I shouldn't say that. I'm not a stockbroker any longer. I don't have a Series 7 license.
I never had one.
Okay. I let mine go. I wanted to be able to have the opportunity to tell you things that I thought, precisely, instead of having to go through all kinds of compliance. Right, because they want you to know what they want you to know, as opposed to sometimes we just want to be able to tell us information. So here's the issue. When remember, we can't turn the clock back to buy that house or that stock. I don't know of a way, having had my licenses, if I want to buy $300,000 worth of Apple stock, I don't know of a way to buy $300,000 worth of Apple stock for $10,000.
No.
Right? Even if I went and bought options, I can't control that much stock for that kind of money. So that's not in the cards for us. So we'd have to buy $300,000 of stock for $300,000, and now say that stock is worth $340 a share. Right? You're not getting the same bang for your buck. You're not getting what'd you say, 100x return.
And have the opportunity, if let's say it's an investment property, of actually having cash flow from that investment.
And if it's not investment property, I don't believe. I mean, you might enjoy the stock certificates that you get from Apple, but I don't think you can live under them.
No.
Right?
So when you pay off that's right. So when your mortgage is paid off in 15 years, let's say you do a 15-year mortgage, then we would look at it and say, well, now what do you do with the equity? Right. Okay. Because if you're sitting there,
well, you've gone pretty quick for a simple guy.
Okay, I'll slow down.
Yeah, slow down just for my benefit.
Got me excited.
Right, so we bought this house
Yes.
in 2000,
Yes.
and we either paid it off because we're 20 years later, or maybe we owe a small amount on it, even if we didn't pay it off.
Right.
And we didn't use it as an ATM, right? We didn't go pulling the cash out to go buy a boat, a car, a vacation, some other depreciable asset. But now we've got boatloads of equity. So that house that we put $10,000 into has appreciated now to, let's just go with a small number, 900,000, not the million number.
Sure.
And our mortgage might be down to maybe 50 or 60,000. So let's call it 50. We're just simple numbers. These examples. We're not giving exact.
Right.
So now you've got $850,000 in that property.
Yes.
That's equity. And my rate of return on equity is always going to be the same. You can forecast that.
It'll be the same as your neighbors.
Zero.
You will gain, and that's right. And you will gain nothing. Mm-hmm.
Rate of return on equity is always zero. If you've got a fully encumbered property, it's going to appreciate at the exact same rate as a property with no loan on it. So in Orange County, if it's going up at 5.2, which I think is the number over the last 60 years on average, right? So that property is going to go from 900 to, call round numbers, 945 next year. It's just the way the math works. But Blake, if we take that 900 and we're going to take a loan out on that. And I like to use, because of it being my own property and getting price breaks and things like that, I'm going to say that we're going to do a $700,000 loan. Let's call it 750 because I just want to make the math easy for a simple person. We owed 50. We've got 700,000. Give me an idea what, in fact, you know something? We've got $700,000. And when we come back, I want you to explain to all of us what we might be able to do with $700,000 in equity. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. And because I'm so intrigued with this, I'm going to push off that Your Credit Matters segment to tomorrow. Now, I know if you tuned in today to hear about what happened, what you have to do if that $600 is going away. It's going to go away in 2 weeks. Plan on it. I'll tell you about that tomorrow, because I'm going to we're going to continue with Blake Vartanian on what we're going to do with $700,000. We're not buying a boat. We're not going out and buying a new Ferrari, but maybe we could down the road once Blake gives us an idea here. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Connect with us, Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio, on Twitter @Ron Siegel. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, shame on you. The replay is available. Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Are you living in the home of your dreams, or simply where you think you can afford? Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Most businesses struggle to get the online reviews they need to get a competitive edge over their competition. Rex is a brand new technology that uses text messages to direct happy clients to your online review sites, Zillow, Google, Facebook, and Yelp, and unhappy clients to a private survey, so businesses can win more customers. Try Rex today by going to www.meetrex.com.
Are you currently renting a home? Do you like paying someone else's mortgage payment? Why not explore the options to purchase your own home? Can you imagine a 30-year fixed-rate loan below 4.25% APR? This means with $10,500, you can purchase a $295,000 home and have a principal and interest payment of about $1,400 per month. What are you paying in rent? Does your family deserve the opportunity to take advantage of the current market? To learn more about these exciting opportunities, the Siegel Lending Lending Team is standing by to speak with you. Call now, 1-800-306-1990. That's 1-800-306-1990. Or visit SiegelLendingTeam.com. That's SIEGEL LendingTeam.com. Or 1-800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by NMLS ID 217037 and 145502. Equal housing lender. Not endorsed or sponsored by any government agency.
Do you have a goal of mortgage-free home ownership? What if your home was valued at $500,000? Are you aware that a free and clear home could be costing you $2,500 every month, $30,000 per year? The mortgage planners at the Siegel Lending Team would like to show you how you can own your home, generate tax-free income, and accumulate family wealth. You simply need to call the Ron Siegel Team at 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990. By sending the team a copy of your most recent mortgage statement, the team will send you a no-obligation real estate plan. You be the judge if this is right for your family. Again, all you have to do is send the team a copy of your mortgage statement by email to reap@ronsiegelradio.com or call today. Ron Siegel, 1-800-306-1990. That is 1-800-306-1990.
Rate subject to change and without notice. Licensed by the California DOC and BRE NMLS 217037 and 145502 and Cal BRE 01869452 and 1866775.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions, as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The Your Credit Matters segment today being brought to you by CreditSanitizer.com. You have a credit report? It is wrong. Credit Sanitizer has these solutions for you. You just need to give them a call or go to their site and take a look at it. I did want to share with you, because I'm not going to do the Credit Sanitizer report this morning, but I did pull up the mortgage payments for a $300,000 loan by decade. And I just find this fascinating. It's a chart that I love. We've shared this before. But our friends on our new family, KMET ABC News and Talk, AM 1490, I haven't shared this with you before. If you were looking for a home in 1970s, on average, for that decade, for a $300,000 loan, which a $300,000 loan in the 70s was a massive property, right? Think about that one. Average rate, 8.86. Your mortgage payment, principal, and interest was $2,384. Same $300,000 loan in 1980s, bought you a little bit smaller house, but you're paying 12.7% on average. $3,248 was your mortgage payment. In the 1990s, you were at 8.12%, $2,267 was your mortgage payment. In the decade of the 2000s, we had an average of 6.29%. Your mortgage payment, $1,855. Today, based on last week's Freddie Mac rate, 3.03 was the interest rate, $1,270 a month. $1,270 a month. That's basically I think you might call that a going out of business sale, a fire sale. If you look at the 80s at 3,200, I'm just doing quick math, 3,200 going down to 1,300. Is that about 67% discount? Right? That's a massive number. And yes, you can buy a house for $300,000 with a $300,000 loan in Orange County, California, Los Angeles, California, San Diego, California, Riverside, California, and in San Bernardino. Everywhere, all of the Southern California counties. Yes, I know Imperial County, you're out there too, right? All these counties, you can buy a house for these prices. The question is, are you going to make the phone call? That's the question. All you got to do is pick up a phone. Again, 800-306-1990. Now, if you are just tuning in to Ron Siegel Radio, well, we start at the top of the hour, so you've missed a lot. We've been sitting here chatting. Blake Vartanian, Realty Pro 100, is with us. And we talked about the difference and what you can do with Apple stock, not the computer, versus buying a house. And our house that we talked about, and if you missed it again, you can go back to RonSiegelRadio.com. Check out the archives. The team will have this posted there. RonSiegelRadio.com or YouTube.com/Ron Siegel 1. It's all there, all the channels, all of our socials will have it. But we got to the point of going through with Blake, and we have not a net worth, but we were liberating $700,000 of equity from an investment we made of $10,000 in the year 2000. So imagine that. We put $10,000 into an investment in 2000. We still own the asset, and we've just liberated $700,000. What are we going to do with it?
Okay, so let's begin with the idea that most people are taught that paying off their mortgage is the best way to have a house. Others, like myself, who were raised third-generation real estate professional, were taught if you can borrow money for less than it costs you, borrow as much money as you can.
So let's slow that one down, Blake. If we can, basically what you've just said is if I can go out and somebody's going to give me or lend me a $10 bill.
Yes.
And somebody else is willing to pay me for that $10 bill a $100 bill. We bought a we acquired a $10 and we just sold that $10 bill for $100.
Exactly.
Right?
So what that's
borrowing money.
And setting the foundation of this is really important because just within the 8 cities around the city we're in right now, there's 53,000 properties that people believe they've accomplished their highest utilization by paying their property mortgages down to zero or close to zero. Because they believe that their best solution is to not have a mortgage. That equity is about $420 billion that's sitting idle that nobody is utilizing.
Wow. $420 billion.
That could purchase over $1.2 trillion worth of real estate.
These are big numbers. I'm a simple guy, but these are big numbers.
Massive, right?
Yeah. We got to bring this down to simple man language.
So the $700,000 that you're saying, we could purchase about $2 million to $2.5 million worth of asset base that would actually have a cash on cash return that would exceed the mortgage payment.
Okay, so now you're going to have to slow down again for me, simple man.
Yes.
If I understand what you're saying, that I can liberate that $700,000, I'm going to pay for that $700,000. You know, we're going to be looking at somewhere in the range of 2.5% to 3.25% interest is where we're at right now, somewhere in there. Mm-hmm. Right? That's just ballpark numbers. Let's use the Freddie Mac number so I don't have to give you all the licensing stuff. So it's 3.03. So we're looking at basically $21,000 a year in mortgage in payments, right? So that's what about $1,900 a month. And we just bought $2.5 million. Let's call it $2 million worth of property. That probably could be looking at four properties here in North Orange County, right?
And we look at, and we tend to, be a little conservative. So we pay a little more, so that the person has a better cash on cash is what we encourage. Just at least in the beginning while they're getting used to.
You're using a term cash on cash. Is that what I would call like free cash flow?
Yes. So okay. Your return on investment. So when you look at, as an example, when you buy stock, you may get a dividend and you may not get a dividend. It just depends on the company that you're purchasing. But you're putting your money into the hands of someone else and hoping that they give you a return on your investment.
Right.
And so if they make a bad business decision, that could impact you. When you own real estate, you actually own the real estate.
I can go and see it.
You can see it. You can touch it. You control it. So I always like to use the example of, and we give real life examples in what we do. So nobody's, wondering when they're getting ready to invest what the scenario is actually going to look like, because everything has to be slowed down to the process where every number is identifiable and each situation is unique. because each property is unique.
Sure.
That's why location is so important. As my first generation grandfather used to say, just because it's land doesn't make it valuable.
Right. Could be out there in Quartzsite, Arizona, where it's 120 degrees today.
Yeah, but in the wintertime, that land could be worth a lot when the
Right.
snowbirds come.
So we've only got about a minute left. So I want to hit a couple of points here,
Sure,
Blake.
sure.
So the bottom line is, if that property that I owned free and clear, I'm not making a mortgage payment on it,
Yes.
but I'm actually also not putting anything into my bank account net as well. So I may be able to say, okay, I'm not making a mortgage payment, but if I make a mortgage payment and I buy these other 3 or 4 properties and we have those rented for a profit, I might be able to net out putting, another $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 per month in my bank account.
Absolutely.
Then I've got the 5% appreciation on my $2 million.
Now, this is the big part, because
Right.
you had 5% on 800,000 in your 900,000 in your original example, and now you've increased your asset base
to 2.9 million at 5%. And that's why, if you're looking at our screen right now, you can see where it says realtypro100.com/events. realtypro100.com/events. We're trying to do this in about 3 minutes. It takes a little longer. Go there, register. They're doing some seminars. One of them happens to be tonight. There's another one in 2 weeks. Check it out, or give me a call at 800-306-1990. I'll put you in touch with one of the professionals here at Realty Pro 100. I do not work for them. I do not get paid by them. I believe in what they're selling and offering and sharing and educating. And that's why I share that with you. And as always, I ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here every day to join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to John and Sean, who are engineering us today. And of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.